Our next presentation is going to be on food and culture in Chatswood, something very close to my heart and also my stomach. Very pleased that we've got Samantha O'Connor joining. Now, what's your official title, Samantha?
Media Marketing and Events Manager.
Media, marketing and events. So Samantha and the team are responsible for all those fantastic events that we get to. I know that the events team got a big rap on the weekend from the Anzac Day services. Council put a lot of work into that, and we appreciate all the work that your team has, not only for Anzac Day, but of course the many other events that we see. And media, it's a big role that you've got. So congratulations on all you're doing. You're going to share with us a bit about food and culture now.
I am. Thank you, Gail. So I'm going to talk about how we support the economy and the vibrancy of Chatswood through food and culture. And you might be asking, well, why? Sorry, Jason, can I just get the, oh yeah, there we go. Thank you. Sorry, just a technical hitch there. You might be asking why a focus on food and culture? And there are a few reasons. Of course, we have the Concourse Performing Arts Centre in the heart of Chatswood CBD, and that's really the cultural hub of the North Shore. It provides great opportunity for local artists to perform, and it's really growing in its ability to host popular high-end events. And I think on the weekend we just had sell-out crowds to Human Nature. So a fantastic event there, really kind of raising its profile in that space. From the census data from 2016, we know that accommodation and food caters for about 9.2% of employment in Chatswood, so that's quite substantial. We also have 4 major retail centres with Chatswood Chase, Westfield Chatswood, and the Mandarin Centre and the Lemon Grove Shopping Centre, a little bit smaller, but really cater for quite unique Asian markets. We also have over 850 food and restaurant outlets in the local area, which is just phenomenal.
It is phenomenal.
So we really are a melting pot of cultures and cuisines. And Taste Tours Sydney has quoted Chatswood as being the only place in New South Wales with such a wide range of Asian cuisines all in the one place. And they dub it Sydney's Little Asia.
Ah, there you are.
So just having a look at the growth of food culture, I guess in the world and also in Australia, we really have seen quite a profound increase in professional Instagrammers and bloggers on social media, in particular on Instagram. And you can see a snapshot of our Willoughby Instagram page there. Food and culture is really becoming embedded just with our local community. So we have amateurs really seeking out unique places to eat and to learn about other cultures and seeking the stories of the restaurateurs and the chefs. Our Chatswood Mall Markets is really becoming a testing ground for new restaurants. There we go. So there's an example of a food blog there on some gravity-defying pancakes from Graham Pancakes in Chatswood Interchange. I'm yet to taste them, but they look amazing. Also, our Chatswood Mall Markets is a testing ground for new restaurants. So the image there is of Black Star Pastry, quite a well-known patisserie in Sydney, and that's at the nighttime Chatswood Mall Markets at one of our Vivid festivals. Chatswood's also becoming a testing ground or an entry point for unique and innovative food products and brands, and a couple of really interesting brands that we've had here in the past as Zumbo Patisserie Butter, which is a fried chicken and sneakers or sports shoes store, a really interesting concept. Mr. Stone Pot and Toasty Smith, which is, these huge toasty cheese sandwiches. They're just delicious. So looking at food on social media, worldwide, we know that 43% of Instagram users are interested in food and drink, making it the 3rd most popular topic, just behind travel and music. The food industry is responsible for about 12% of all posts on social media. And we know from our millennials that about 60% of them will look at a restaurant menu through social media, and 30% of them will actively avoid restaurants that have a weak Instagram presence. Now, if you go onto Instagram and have a look at #food, you'll find about 440 million posts on food and drink. So, kind of gives rise to our the reason that we want to promote food in Chatswood. From our Chatswood social media pages, about 50% of our posts are about food and drink. And of course, for the Chatswood Mall Markets Facebook page, about 80% of our posts are of food and drink. And you can understand why, because it's predominantly a food market. Our top performing organic post has come from a partnership with Adam Lau, who is one of the previous MasterChef winner. And he did a post on the 5 best dumplings in Chatswood, which reached 13,000 people without even spending any money.
Wow.
So how do we do it? How do we promote food in our food businesses? Well, we do it through our Chatswood food campaigns, and we align them with our festivals and events. And some examples, the Taste of Asia food tours are really bespoke, in-person guided tours around Chatswood, unearthing the hidden gems of restaurants that you can find in our laneways, and connecting people to the chef and the stories that lie within those restaurants. Through our Vivid Eats program, we enlist, I guess, restaurants around the area to be part of, to offer up a special menu item that we can promote for them, along with all of our other marketing within the festival. So things like glowing cocktails, bright milk drinks, vivid dumplings, and we've also had an illuminated night market. Our Emerge Food Trail was featured in 2020, so that was last year at the back end of the pandemic of the lockdown, where largely that spring festival was an online or a virtual event. And we were able to get featured in the Sydney Morning Herald as a key COVID-safe component of the event, our Emerge Food Trail. And of course, with our Lunar New Year Festival, we have a Festival Eats program that runs along with that. And key for the last couple of festivals was our partnership with a food ambassador, Adam Lau. His posts for us socially have been amazing. He had one post, one video that reached 22,000 people within the first week. And overall for the festival campaign, we reached over 400,000 people. So it's aligning food with our campaigns. It's a really good opportunity for us to reach big audiences and help our food businesses in our local area. So what are we doing that's new? And in our response to the COVID recovery, we supported our local food markets. So that's the Chatswood Mall markets. Now you might remember last year when the supermarket shelves were all empty and food markets in Sydney and New South Wales, and I guess Australia as well, became a really important source of local produce for our residents. So we partially opened up Chatswood Mall markets, which inevitably gave continued employment to the stall holders and a regular income from them that they were relying on. Chatswood was one of the only Sydney and definitely the only North Sydney food market that was operating at that time.
Wow.
Needless to say, we had quite strict COVID
yes, in a COVID-safe way, of course, yes.
Our Festival Eats program now, along with our events, which are also modified at the moment, promotes self-guided tours. So you can see an image there of our Festival Eats program with Year of the Rat. We also did the same with Year of the Ox this year, where we suggest places for people to go and to eat while they're enjoying the highlights of the festival. We also supported the New South Wales government to promote the Dine and Discover scheme with a media release and social posts. And I believe Meg Early did an interview as well.
Yes, that's right.
And we have over 150 participating businesses in the scheme at the moment in Chatswood.
150, did you say? Wow, well done.
Yeah. Leading and driving economic benefit through our Culture Bites events. Now, Culture Bites is an interesting program. It's a trial program of cultural events, and as the name suggests, they are bites of culture. So starting with a pocket opera that we ran with our Willoughby Symphony Orchestra in March in partnership with Pacific Opera. It was a 1-hour opera just to give a taste of what opera is like for new audiences. So really trying to bring new younger audiences to the concourse and to Chatswood. And along with that, a food campaign to tell people how they can enjoy the food in Chatswood when they come to visit the opera. The next program, I might just skip to the next slide quickly if I can to do a bit of a plug. So happening in April and May, at the moment we have a Cactus Garden at the concourse, which is in line with the Comedy Festival, Sydney Comedy Festival. Again, if you hop on to visitchatswood.com.au, you'll be able to see the food campaign that is aligned with that program. So encouraging people to eat in the local area. And in May, we have a K-pop night that will attract a different audience. And so we'll be honing in on that audience and the places that they might like to eat, and in particular, some of our Asian dessert restaurants. And coming up later in May, we have Next Chapters, which is a partnership between Willoughby Sydney Symphony Orchestra and Legs on the Wall, incorporating some acrobatic performances in line with the music, and the acrobatics will happen above the audience and above the stage. So a first in New South Wales that we know of, and certainly something not to miss.
Wow.
John mentioned it earlier on, the event grants, or the community grants. We run each year an event grants round for new events that are coming up, and that they just provide some seed funding to help support the growth of the events in the local area. During Emerge, our spring festival last year, we provided support for companies who wanted to participate in Emerge, but weren't yet clued in on how to run a virtual event. And one of those was a local barbecue supplier who also did cooking programs and ran a steak and Shiraz night for us during Emerge. And he was booked out and had to run second and third sessions.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And we also have, over the course of the last 12 months, provided COVID safe plan support to businesses and event organisers.
Wow.
So an advice section there.
Yeah.
And that's me.
Wow. So I know during COVID, events was very challenging, but I was so impressed with the way that you innovated and were able to move virtually to make sure that people were still included. It was quite remarkable. What are some of the events that you moved to be a virtual event rather than an in-person one?
Yeah, it was actually quite tricky because the restrictions were changing so often. In fact, they were changing almost daily. So, you know, one day we would have an event that was going full steam as planned, and then the next day it would completely change according to the cases that were increasing and decreasing. But one event that we ran virtually was the Pep Festival.
Yes.
And it was such a great result. It did require the team to stretch themselves and seek new skills in videography and running film sessions and you know, setting a cast and particularly with the Pet Festival, it was about organising animals, so that was quite tricky. But we had a great response, and you were part of that virtual event. It was fantastic.
Well, yeah, the interview with the ranger was fantastic. We were able to get our little dogs out there, and so the innovation is a real credit to you and the team. Very, very difficult circumstances. I did like seeing the photo of Adam Liao. Just seeing his face makes you want to eat, doesn't it? There's something about him that is very engaging, and you think, oh, I want to eat those dumplings that guy's eating. Just fabulous. So he's been a terrific ambassador for us. And I know that you've trying to run a bit of a food layer right through all of these events that you're doing. How are businesses responding to that?
Oh, the businesses love it. So our events team have people on the ground who will physically go into businesses and talk to them about the events that we're running. So it's not just that they get a sense of awareness of what council is achieving in the event space, but they just love to be involved, and they get really excited. And you know, during Vivid, they'll have lights on their staff, and they're just really getting into the groove of things. So it's about creating in a CBD. It's quite difficult to create a unified approach and have that feeling of community, but bringing people together through the food layering, it really helps to garnish that sense of community. Yeah,
but isn't that great that businesses want to be part of it too? And we've got a question that's come through from Craig Campbell, Councillor Craig Campbell, I should say, our Deputy Mayor, and he's just questioning around the 9.2% of the economy related to food and accommodation, because as we discussed earlier, 2016 census. Just wondering, has the world moved on from there? Have you got a sense for if that is still a relevant number?
To be honest, I don't. The figure was taken from the 2016 data, and I assume that would have changed a little bit, but I'm not sure how that's changed.
Yeah, and
I'm quite keen to see.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see also the impact of COVID. This is part of our data dashboard. I can see that we might be able to get some use out of that to just find out if there was a dip. As we talked with John earlier, the fact that the Friday night trade perhaps might have dropped away somewhat in Chatswood CBD, but moved to local centres. We're in a very, very changing environment, aren't we?
It is very fluid.
Yeah, and from an events perspective, I admire the way that you're able to step up, create interesting events. The Cactus Garden, I hear, is absolutely fantastic. I'm thinking about wandering down there tonight.
Larger than life.
Yeah, Larger Than Life, which is a great addition to the comedy festival. I've opened the art show that's down there, quite a thought-provoking art show, very contemporary in the art space down at the concourse. and a great opportunity for those people that are going to the comedy festival to pop in and see the art show, and of course our wonderful Cactus Garden.
Absolutely.
And have something to eat, of course.
Yes, definitely have something to eat.
Yeah. So thanks, Sam. It's really interesting talking about our food campaign, all that we're doing in that space to promote food in the city of Chatswood, but also the wonderful events we have too. Terrific to hear from you.